I hate to do these updates. I want you to see something about Facebook. This is a laptop that an old laptop I fixed myself, and I don't want to go too long. But you have to, Facebook and websites shadow ban, meaning they let the person, when they're signed in, think that all their posts and everything are being viewed, but they only let you view them, me. So I don't sign in on this laptop just because of all my websites. You have to always have one that you're not signed in with Google, Facebook, or anything, so you could see your public page. Sometimes I used to go to Walmart or stores, get online, but like Tumblr's blocked. Not because my Tumblr is bad, but because I guess Tumblr allows people to watch porn. So they're blocked from all the Walmarts. And I used to go to Best Buy and check. Look at what Facebook does. This is Blogger, meaning one of my main sites, which is a blog, a simple site. I got, 193,000, almost 194,000 views. Now, when you go to my Facebook page, okay, I'm not the type that would set up a fake account just to view. Everything's legit with me. So you can't view, post unless you're a member of Facebook, which I understand. Most people, they want you to join. But I haven't checked this page in ages. This is my links to the blog, which is Google, meaning Google themselves own Blogger, as well as Google, YouTube, and other things. But here is my link from Facebook to Blogger. Look what comes up. Not secure. Your connection is not private. Hackers might be trying to steal your information. I do many websites, and let me tell you, Facebook is deceptive and untrustworthy. There are some sites that I have that are like out of France. Overblog is a French site, which is cool. I had a couple others, Joomla and a few that are considered what you just saw fake, or hackers might be trying to steal your information. Anybody that views my sites ever, I don't ask for any information, money, or any, I don't email, I don't contact. It's just for people to view. But I had somebody today that told me, I don't see any of your blog posts, John, in a few weeks, which made me think websites sometimes shadow ban. So that's why I was going to check that on Facebook. But the fact that they said the only time you see this is an unsecure site, you would never see that from Blogger, which is Google. You might see it from one of my foreign sites, or like all those many websites. And they are just simply deceptive. They are simply deceptive because that public link to a Blogger, meaning the Google site, should never show something like that. Now I understand that some sites you had to secure a personal, but it should never show like that for Blogger. So they're just deceptive. And I've had problems with the whole Facebook phenomenon and how they do that. And websites also, some of the main ones, what they do is called shadow banning. Meaning there are people that might be I don't do ads and I don't pay for anything or take money. But there were people that paid for websites or pages on Facebook or whatever, and they were paying with the thinking that obviously everything they did was public. Twitter and others do the same thing. They only let the owner-operator think that everything is public. There's a lot of manipulation that I learned, and that is one reason I leave one of my laptops unsigned in. Because all those buffer links, a million links, sometimes once you're signed in with your Google account, it takes you to your page because you're signed in. So I had to make sure I had one like that. And that's deceptive. If I did any news update, but I wanted you to see that for yourself. The tremendous manipulation that we're seeing in many things. I didn't check the news all day. I keep my phone off a big part of the day, so I don't check it. But I'm familiar with it because I checked it a little bit. The big news today would be all of the incendiary devices that were sent to people that were key Democrats, whether Mr. Obama, Hillary Clinton, George Soros. Now, I saw all that. And I also saw that these would be like we all condemn violence. But when I saw the names on the list, which would be like top people that maybe the conservative sides have critiqued over many years, without me really looking yet, I'll check in a little while. I'll upload some videos in a minute. You'll see this quick as an update. It made me really wonder at this stage whether some of these things are possibly inspired by someone that wants to have an effect on the midterm elections. You know, they said a package bomb was delivered to George Soros' house, which would be bad to any of us. But yet there's no video. Now, someone like George Soros, very famous liberal man there, it just made me wonder, like, if it, not that it's not real, but that somebody on another motivation would have targeted those specific names, and then it came out. You know, as a news watcher and a documentary, I was watching something on the 70s, documentary, and they talked about Watergate and as I look at what's happened the last few years, I thought, we've had a lot worse happen than Watergate. But they pumped that, and it was bad. It was a cover-up about a botched burglary. But if you had institutions, agencies, whether it was what some refer to as deep state, and if you saw involvement that they themselves were doing manipulation, and our main media for the last 2.5 years not only have not covered it, but kind of covered a lot of real wrongdoing up, regardless of your political side of the aisle. And I remember there was so many, questionable things that went on. Somebody mentioned, one of my homeless friends mentioned Ted Kaczynski the other day, the infamous Unabomber. And Ted Kaczynski, familiar with, he was a terrorist guy, lived in isolation, but he had a particular environmental view, like we're going to attack things that we feel are anti-environment and all, and he sent bombs and all. He was finally caught, and when he was caught, I remember, okay, what did they find? The media is always trying to connect a particular terroristic act particularly to one side of the aisle. And I speak to you as a non-Republican and a non-conservative, because I'm not either of those. And so when Kaczynski case happened, it was brought out that they found the book from Al Gore, which he read on the environment. Now, Mr. Gore obviously did not condone, but not only did the media not want you to know that Kaczynski was a person in his warped mind who was influenced by some of the views of Mr. Gore, a staunch, the global warming law. But if you Google, I didn't do it recently, but if you Google, what did Mr. Kaczynski, the Unabomber, have Al Gore's book, you know what comes up? They mock, like, of course, there was zero connection, and he was not influenced at all, though he had the book and he read the book. Well, what that showed me is if you had some nut carry out a terroristic attack, and he had something from Trump or something, the media would immediately connect it. The media tried to connect Miss Sarah Palin because she said we're targeting certain candidates. The media said, meaning targeting in a political way, the media blamed her for certain types of attacks, and they showed the targetal. So now most people are familiar with manipulation. What you have on the social media, make no mistake about it, Google a few years ago actually publicly, openly talked about how they were organizing for the benefit of Mr. Obama. We're making a list, and we're actually working to advance the Democratic Party, which is fine. But they openly said it, that they would use their tools and all, and Mr. Obama's White House had a Google representative work closely with them in all of this. And so when media or social media, when they have agendas, when they say a public link to, like, my site is a danger, it's unsafe. That you only get that with foreign. You don't get that with Blogger, which is Google. Make no mistake about it, they manipulate. I think that Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, there are some liberal Democrats that want Mark Zuckerberg to go to prison and face charges, because when he appeared before Congress, you tell me if this was honest. Zuckerberg appeared before Congress, a month or so ago, whatever, about all of the stuff going on. And then he was asked, he said, and why do you block certain sites, particularly conservative sites that were blocked? But they didn't mention, and Mrs. Zuckerberg answered and said, well, if we deem that there are terroristic threats, and I forgot who it was, a Republican Congresswoman, maybe Marsha Blackburn. She said, what about those, don't even know that, but they were two black conservatives that were on Facebook. Lilo, I don't remember their names, but they got rid of them too. Now, she showed that Mr. Zuckerberg lied to Congress, which is a crime, because they indeed practice their same media manipulation. The same thing that if you Google today, was there any connection? If you found a connection to what happened today, and these bombings, and these things that were sent, if you found a connection, and it was a fake thing, the media would not tell you that. If it came from somebody that tried to manipulate, meaning maybe it wasn't really a Trump Republican, whoever, maybe it came from someone from the other side of the aisle, they would not reveal that to you. They might reveal it to you in some other way. I'm watching I speak out on the issues when I see violence against black people. I was just rewatching the documentary, tragic story of, Khalif Badr, who's finally committed suicide. Black kid in New York City. Senator Rikers said he stole a backpack. Those things get me mad. But I remember once the media, they wanted to run with the narrative that, like, conservatives were going to be out doing various things. And then there was a shooting one day. Tragically, it was a white officer shooting. I believe it was one of them in Texas that took place. And I remember watching one media thing, either CNN or MSNBC, and they were trying to say it looks like it was like a white nationalist type of a conservative that shot and tragically killed this cop. Now, as I was watching it, they said he had some association, sort of like with the conservative white nationalistic view, and somehow he went and killed this cop. It was being portrayed that way. But the way they were reporting it, they didn't want to report because they were trying to push the danger of the right, of the conservative. And finally it came out. I said, I wonder what color the man was. And maybe he was angry about the violence against blacks. It was a black man that wrongfully had some type of a anger towards white officers, which is still wrong. But the narrative, they didn't want to tell you. They were changing the narrative to you. They don't want to tell people that we block everything you do, but keep paying us for the people that pay. They're manipulators. What happened today, that's the one big story I did indeed see. That yesterday morning into today, there were like bombs or incendiary devices sent to people that were known as liberals. And there's questions about, hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it, and we'll see who did it. But if you found out, for instance, if somebody like that had some affiliation at all with Mr. Trump, not meaning he would ever condone that, but if they had a Trump book, they would actually tell you that he somehow is a Trump person or supporter. But when the Unabomber had Al Gore's book, they mock. If you Google that, you say, but couldn't there have been some connection? They mock the fact. I remember in the campaign of the Obama and Hillary. And then it came out that the person who kind of started the Muslim thing, they said, and I remember seeing news reports on this, who was the one that said Obama was a Muslim? The Hillary Clinton campaign actually did the research and said, let's float this story. Now, when I heard that, meaning did it start with the Clintons to accuse Obama of being a Muslim to get that out? Okay. Then I looked into it, and it actually started with the Clinton campaign. That was the first time they leaked that out, that Obama was Muslim. But they leaked it out. Okay, over a period of time, the media said that was a lie, that it didn't. And if you Google today, where did the original accusation that Mr. Obama was a Muslim come from? Did it come from Hillary? The things that come up on Google is it's a lie, it's fake, it's a conservative right-wing nut lie. And then when you read the article, it says, because we couldn't trace it directly to Hillary. They admitted it came from her campaign, but the people around her, the people that worked with her, that it did indeed come from them, but they couldn't trace the exact tweet, the exact thing. What a manipulation. What a manipulation and a disaster that both our present media and the entire debacle of this whole social media environment. You can look at any statistic and you can see how the social media giants, the Facebooks and Googles, did indeed align themselves with a particular view. And that particular view they're welcome to have, but they use that. The other travesty on the Facebook, I went easy on them the other day, was the amount of children that have committed suicide and blown their heads off because of Facebook and social media. Why? Bullied. They felt like they were not accepted. They didn't get a lot of likes. They got people that didn't read their photos and all. Okay, and tragically, that's sad because we want to make sure social media in general deal well. But then it was revealed, lo and behold, this last year or so, one of the people that worked with Facebook on that, who eventually left, they did a study, and they knew that there was a psychological study that they would hook the kids with the likes, with all these things. And they knew that a percentage of them would blow their heads off and kill themselves. That it would have harmful effects. This was revealed the last year. And that person is still in the tech industry, but he left. And what he wanted to blow the lid off of was they knew that. John, did they want those kids to kill? No, but they knew that if they tried to mess with the psyche of the younger generation, it would have a bad effect, and they did it. I think the whole Facebook thing is a debacle, the more I look into it. I think Zuckerberg and those on the left that want to hold him accountable for lying to Congress and go after him. But you have a manipulation in this country. I guarantee you there were many in the media and many on the other side of the aisle that were happy for what was reported this day. And already they're blaming Trump. But when you had the Unabomber with the Book of Al Gore marked and all that, if you Google it today, they will tell you that is a lie. And then you read the article. If you Google today who started the whole Muslim, they'll say that's a conservative lie conspiracy. They are a constant manipulation. And your journalism today does that. Our local media does that. Because they play the game. They played the game. Okay? So now, that's the update. But they're manipulated. Look, I cut this out. I'll end it with this. This is the Facebook war room. Why did I cut that out? I actually liked the image of like a computer, and I did it not in a negative way. This was called their war room. But you know what the war room was? They finally, it was revealed secretly before they came out and publicly admitted it. It was basically them working for a political line. They said, we're going to weed out fake news. I remember when Facebook said they were going to possibly make Hillary Clinton the CEO. That was kind of came out because, remember when Hillary said, I wouldn't know a Twitter from a tweeter, meaning she had zero skills about social media. Then they would ask her questions. What is it, a black person? And she had no idea what they were asking, but she picked one. She said she admitted that she was uneducated in that whole field. What would then Mr. Zuckerberg and Facebook possibly think? At one point they were thinking she would head up Facebook as the replace Sheryl Sandberg. Why would you do that then? Just to simply align yourself. Then they said, well, we're going to show news that's profitable for people. And the three news things that they had, they said even somebody from Fox, the one they picked, they were going to have their own news thing with Shepard Smith, who is, that's his view. He's a liberal. I've seen Mr. Shepard Smith say, we're in a crisis. When will Congress stand up and forcibly remove Mr. Trump by enacting 25th Amendment? Okay, anybody. The media thinks we're stupid and we're ignorant. And they play us for fools. You had this game that you played on society. And you won't stop playing the game. If it's to your benefit to cover up the real core of what happened in a particular thing, you will lie about it and you will cover up about it. If it's to your political benefit, you will manipulate. And you do it constantly. You do it constantly. The danger of Facebook. I'm on, yes. The danger of Facebook. There's